So the first thing we're going to do is implement a basic translation feature in an app, right? So we'll go start new project. I'll do everything just as simple as possible. I will use model view model to make sure that we don't get any bad habits. So let's go ahead and create my folder here. I'll call it models, and in it I'll create my view model. Let's see, class, I'll call it my view model. Right? Talk about bad habits. All right, so I'll make it I notify PROPERTYCHANGD, like that. Excellent. All right, so what we'll do is, here's my implementation of property change, and I'll create a quick property that is of type string, and it'll be a source string, right? Just like that. And then I'll also have a result string. So it'll be a result string. Okay, so now I have something to bind to. So I'm going to create two new classes. So I'm going to drop to my my blog here. This is my blog, and here over on the left I have a link to all my helper classes. One of the helper classes that I want is a delegate command. There it is. So I'll get the delegate command. It'll jump me over to CodePaste where I keep it. I'll copy it, and now I'll jump back to my project, create a new class. I'll call it the delegate command. I'll drop this in there like so. Very nice. Let me look at it. Everything's good. And now I can create another property of type delegate command, and I'm going to call this the translate command. This is what's going to actually make it happen. Okay, so I'm going to create another class, and this is going to be the Translator Helper. That's right. There's a lot of repetitive work if you're ever going to do this, so I'll jump back to my blog where I've got the Microsoft Translator Helper here at the bottom. And I just wrapped it up, as a matter of fact. And so let me go ahead and copy that. It does all of the OAuth for you. And so let me drop back in, push that in there, and let's see. Okay, now this is anticipating that you have a service that is already created and has a name. In this case, I was going to call it trans service. You can call it whatever you want. The helper has some links at the top that just sort of help me out. I'm going to jump here to the API reference, and this API reference is up on MSDN, and so I'm just going to dump this in here like so. And when it does, it'll take me to a page that not only describes the service on MSDN, but also gives me the URL that I can use to create my my service. So there it is, right? It's API, MicrosoftTranslator.com, v2, no problem. All right, so now I can go and say add service reference. I'll paste it in. I'll say go. It'll go out, find it, get all the metadata, and I will go ahead and call it the trans service, but you could call it Mickey Mouse if you wanted to. All right, so here, trans service. The only thing you would have to change if you did that, Mickey Mouse, by the way, is just change this using so it's using the right one. All right, so now the trans service is there. And since it's all set up, everything's good. All right, there's nothing else you have to do inside this translator helper. You just have to make sure that it has the correct using. All right, I dropped out of that. The translator helper really is the service wrapper for me to do a lot of the work, so it handles all the asynchronous work. It inputs or injects the authentication header, gets the token, reuses a lot of code that was already provided, just puts it in a single reusable wrapper, which I like doing stuff that way. So let's create a constructor inside our view model. This is where I'm going to define the translate command, like so. And so translate command equals a new delegate command, just like so. Oh, yeah. Now, this constructor takes two properties. The first one is the execute, and the second one is the can execute. And so for whether or not it can execute, I cannot allow it to translate if the source string is empty. So return not string is null or white space source, right? That's going to return true if it's not empty, and that will allow me to do it, right? If that returns true, I can do it. If it's false, I can't do it. That's the idea. And again, since we're using model view model translate command allows me to handle all of the button click operations in my view model without having to have a bunch of code behind. So here's where I'm going to handle it here. All right, so this is the important part, right? So this is where I need to have my ID and password for my registered app for the service. Remember that? And so let me jump to let's see, Azure Data Marketplace, Microsoft Translator Applications. There we go. We went to this in the previous video where we created or registered my application. Now I'm writing my application, and it's going to use this credential in order to get there. So remember, the client ID that I created was Jerry's sample app, right? So I'll just make a place for this real quick. Let's see, string client ID equals Jerry's sample app, and then I have also a secret, and the secret or password, right, is right here, this Jerry's sample app secret that I get to control. All right, that's all ready. Now I can say helper equals new translator helper, and it's going to ask for that client ID, and it's going to ask for that client secret, and I'll just pass it to it. It'll handle all the rest and deal with it that way for me. All right. So there's a lot of power here. We want to make this as simple as possible, just so we can do the basics. All right. So let's start with result. Let me show you two steps. The first will be, this is kind of a cool one. This is the language that the user is typing in. I'm going to be typing in English, but wouldn't it be cool to be able to translate from whatever they want, and they don't have to do it on their own. So now I could say helper.detect async. This is going to be asynchronous, so I'll mark this as async so I can use await. Right? I'll say detect async, and it'll be the source string. That'll return back part of an enumerable for me. And then I'll say this dot result string equals await helper dot, and then I can say translate async, and it's going to be the source string, and the language that it's from. I just detected it, remember, so it's in that local variable, and it's going to, in this case, let's just hard code this to French, and just know you could have a drop down selector and all kinds of cool stuff there, right? All right, let's bring those together. One other thing is, no, really that's it. This, because it's iNotify property change, iProperty changed, I'm going to create a quick handler to make sure that whenever anything changes, in this case it's the source string that's going to make a difference, because see how the can execute is based on the source string? I just want to update that translate command, the one I just defined. And what you do is you just say raise can execute changed. What happens is that means as the user is making a change to the string, it's updating the is enabled of the button that references the command. It's beautiful. This is the whole thing. I'm done now. Let's go to the XAML. I've got my model view, or my view model ready. Let me jump to the XAML. I'm going to create two text boxes, and then a button in between them that'll do the translation. So let me grab a text box. There we go. One, and then I'll just I'll duplicate that over here, and then we'll put a button in between them. Button. Search the B. Oop, there we go. All right, and so first let's do the button. The button is going to be, all right, I changed the content to say TRANSLATE, translate. And then I also set its command. So here's the command. I'll say bind. Oh, of course it doesn't have any binding yet because I haven't set the binding of the page. So let me go to the page and set its context. Say new. I'll go to my models here. There's my view model. Now everything is going to be based on the view model. You can see selecting that just added these 3 lines, which will instantiate the class for me. It also gives me design time data, but in this case I won't really have design time data. So here's the button again. I'm going to go down to the command, and I'm going to say create data binding. Now you can see it knows the type, and I'll say it's the translate command. That means every time the user presses that button, it will invoke translate, right? It'll call that command and cause it to execute. And it's disabled, you see. It's disabled because it's executing that anonymous method that checks. So here we are. The first one here on the left, I'm going to set its text to be, I'll certainly make sure that it is, it's two-way. But first let me set it to, this is the source string, right? So I'll set that to two-way. That way as they're typing, it's updated on the back end as well. And then I'll set the one on the right here, I'll set it to the result string, right? And one way or two way, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to be typing in that one. In fact, it would be smart of me to make that read only so I don't go messing anything up. All right, so this is bam bam, right? I write it in English, it'll come out in French, right? That's easy enough. So let me think. I think we're done. All right, so let's try. Pretty cool, huh? Just the three objects. The helper does all the work for us, basically. And that view model is just a straightforward implementation, not much to it. All right, so let's go ahead and run it and see if it executes. So let's see. Hello, world. All right, let's translate. I need to have a spinner or something. And look, salut tout le monde. Isn't that beautiful? It worked right off the bat. I mean, that's insane. You want to add some more functionality? Okay, so we've done two things that we know work, right? The first thing we know work is the detection of the language. Cool. The next one we know is the translation. Even cooler. Now I'm going to get it so that it'll read it to me. That's beautiful. All right, here we go. So let me close that, and I'll drop back to my view model, and I'm going to create another property here. Property, notify property, and it will be of type URI, and it will be the speak URI. Let's just say. All right, and I'll set that. I'll just do it as another line here after translate, and I'll just say speak URI equals await helper, and it's just another method in the helper, right? Speak async, it's saying what do you want to speak? I want to speak in this case, I want to speak the French, right? So let's say result string, and then the language is going to be French, and that's it. Everything else I can take the defaults. So this will be another second delay, you know what I mean? But it's all asynchronous, so the UI is still fluid, and anything else on the screen that I might have made will be done. So how do you make a sound inside Saml? Well, it's pretty easy. All I need is a media element. So let me just show you a media element. This is an invisible element, by the way. I'm going to put it here. There is no reason to put it anywhere, right? But I'll put it there anyway, just for fun. And I am going to set its let's see, its source. Let me just find it. SOUR. There we go. And I need to bind that to, remember I just created that speak URI. There it is. I want the speak URI. Take it. And let's see, AUTO, auto, and it's already set to autoplay. So as soon as it changes, it'll have to download it, and then it'll start, you can hear it. That's it, right? So now I've got the media element. That's the thing that will play the audio for me. I went ahead and changed my my view model so that it goes ahead and updates that URI into that property we created. Let's see what happens. All right, so let's see. What time is it? Isn't that nice? What time is it? There it is.
Quelle heure est-il?
Quelle heure est-il? Isn't that nice? So I've done three things now, and look how simple it is. I can detect the language that somebody is typing in. I can translate to another language, even have it read it to me. Are you thinking how you can implement this inside your application? There's 1,000 ways. Beautiful. Talk to you later.